Township of Whitewater Region recommends the council approve the updated bylaw 0703-284 to allow the use of off-road recreational vehicles on all roads in the Township of Whitewater Region, including county roads and Renfrew County, or County of Renfrew roads. Discussion? Yes, Chris.
Yeah, I think this probably stems from the recent passing of the law. Right now, four-wheelers have been allowed provincially, but side-by-sides have not been. So I think it's an updated ruling from the province to allow, do I have that? Oh yes, sorry, I guess maybe I didn't read that one. But the bylaw that I'd like to pass, I think I'd like to see the wording cleaned up, maybe to the use of all off-road recreational vehicles, because I think the definition we used before of off-road vehicles was just the four-wheelers, but now it would include side-by-sides. I think that's, like I said, the main definition of what the province has just done, but I think I'd like to maybe just clean up the wording of what we deem as an off-road vehicle. Maybe just includes the word all.
Yeah,
for all that are...
Can we do that right now?
Yes, as defined.
We can. I can do that.
I think we can do that, can't we?
Can't you just put all?
And maybe it's all off-road vehicles as defined by the MTO.
All off-road. Bill?
Part of the reason this was brought up is the county is about to pass the same bylaw, but they have exclusions for any county roads that are in the villages of Whitewater. So that's why I brought this to you partially. I think something should be sent to the county, if you guys would like, that Whitewater would request allowing all those vehicles on the county roads within the villages.
Mayor Johnson?
That's absolutely correct, Bill. If we're going to promote tourism, every main street that has a fuel station on it in Whitewater Region is on a county road. So, I mean, we can't accept them running down the road if we can't get them to fuel safely and legally. So I totally agree we've got to word it that way.
And also in Foresters Falls, you can't get across that creek unless you go through on county road.
That's correct, yes.
All right. Christine?
So that motion presented is to give us the marching orders to redo the bylaw, to update it with this new wording, referencing the Province of Ontario legislation, and we can bring that back to the August 19th meeting if that's suitable.
Suits me. Take that all off. Sorry. Okay, so I guess... Okay. Be resolved that the Public Works Committee of the Township of Whitewater Region recommends council approve bylaw 0703-284 to allow the use of all off-road recreational vehicles on all roads in the Township of Whitewater Region, including Renfrew County roads. Okay, Darrell. Councillor McLaughlin.
Thank you. I'm just wondering, when you say that, you're talking about allowing them to go up and down your main streets in Cobden, your main streets in Beachburg? Is that what you're agreeing to? I think you should think about that one. In my thoughts, at 2 o'clock in the morning, if there's kids ripping up and down the roads at that time, I understand where Mayor Johnson is coming from. And I agree, I have had people requesting in Foresters Falls because you can't get to the fuel stations. And I understand that part of it. But I also think that there needs to be some thought or a little more thinking put into it, because when you say all roads, you're meaning all our main streets as well. And I don't know if that's what we want.
Well, Darrell, isn't all vehicles licensed, all four wheels and side-by-side?
Okay, I'm just stating my statement is what I'm doing and thinking ahead, that's all. If it's the wishes of this council that you let them go up and down the main streets of Cobden and Beachburg, that'll be the wishes. I personally, with that in mind, I'm not in favor of that. So I think we need to do maybe a little more discussion before we go ahead.
I just want to say they're all under the Highway Traffic Act. And Mayor Johnson.
maybe we could word it the way that the act words it for snowmobiles, and that gives them the right to go from the trails by the shortest method to fuel up only. So that would mean they couldn't go up and down Main Street. For instance, they would have to come in maybe on the rail track only and go to the, like if one station's open, or whichever way they've got to go to the shortest method, which would then stop them going. I agree 100%. I was kind of opening that up to racing Main Street, which is not the intention. So that could be looked at.
Okay, so what do we want to do? Oh, sorry. Councillor Olmsted?
Yeah, I think the spirit of like the intention of allowing them to use a main street would be perhaps going from their home to a fueling station or to a trail. So I just think we have to be careful of the wording there. I agree with Councillor McLaughlin. We don't want to see them drag racing on our main street, but I don't think that'll happen. But we should watch our wording.
Okay. Christine?
So we'll try and capture all of that in a draft bylaw for August 19th that can then be reviewed and further refined if needed.
Okay. Any other questions? Answers? Okay. So to read this now? Okay, so to say all in favor of, what's going to be different? Yes, Darrell?
I think the chair is right, that only licensed vehicles can be on the roads. If they're not licensed, they're still not even, wouldn't be allowed on the roads. Am I correct with that statement?
Yeah, no, they can't be, they can be licensed and insured. And they have to be a driver.
But they still can go fast and they still can go up and down your road.
No, they can. So, what should we say? Do we want to do this over again, or do we, okay?
This is giving us the authorization to update the
Okay.
20
All those in favor of upgrading that bylaw? Yeah, amending the bylaw. All in favor of amending the bylaw? Okay. All opposed? Darrell? Or Councillor McLaughlin?
What are you going to do? You're going to amend it, or are you going to are we going to get the CAO to draft it and bring it back so we can pass it? That would be my thoughts.
Well, that's what I thought we were doing, but maybe I'm wrong.
Well, you have to get it drafted before you can pass it, do you not? Am I?
Okay.
I believe that's what we did say, is we are going to draft a bylaw for the August 19th meeting, and then council can review it, and then we will then take a look at the wording and the passage of it.
With that clarification, I'm quite,
right.
I could quite accept that.
So, that's what I meant. Okay, now what?
No, you need one?
Maintenance of the fleets? Okay. Next, so we say fleet maintenance and fire trucks, or what do you? Okay, next thing on the agenda is fleet maintenance and fire trucks. And I think Marcia has an update. Fleet maintenance and fire trucks? Apparently Marcia does not have an update. Bill?
Well, this item was requested by the mayor to go on to the Public Works Committee, so perhaps Mayor Johnson wants to address this.
I have quite a few questions. I'm going to start with our Forshers Falls fire truck that's been sitting for quite some time without any reports on it. It was suggested at one point that it burnt. Is that correct?
There was a small fire on the truck during pump testing, yes.
Okay, if it was a fire and it's unable to be used, that would be an insurance policy, would it not?
The problem is we can't get the truck to pass the pump test.
That has nothing to do with the fire, though. If it burnt and it won't work, then that should be an insurance claim.
It didn't burn beyond being used.
Then it should be fixed. by now it should be either a report on what's wrong with it and something going forward to be fixed, or it should be a claim for insurance. That's my point.
Okay,
We haven't had anything come to council at all about the fire truck. It's still sitting in the garage, is it not?
that's right. The last direction I had was that we would have a meeting to discuss it, so I guess that's what we're here for.
Okay. And another question I have is, why was it taken out of service originally after the 21 items were brought forward? None of them were substantial to take it out of service.
Public Works didn't take it out of service.
Well, that's what I was told.
No. I can get you the person that took it out of service to answer that question for you.
That will be the question to be answered then. So the question is posed to, why did the truck get taken out of service for 3 weeks and no safety issues?
Repeat that, please.
The truck was out of service for 3 weeks before the pump test.
Yes.
Why?
Well,
There's a real simple answer to that, I'm
Yes,
sure, because it was
there is.
taken out of service.
yes, there is.
And it is? The answer is?
There was safety concerns lodged, and,
No, there weren't safety
Yes,
concerns,
they
there were
were.
defects.
okay. Defects after the truck come back from a maintenance issue. There was a letter sent to the chief stating that there was concerns.
21 issues that weren't safety
That's right.
concerns. They were defects that should have been answered very quickly.
Okay. Upon request from the chief for a copy of the defects, after we were given written letter stating that we were going to receive a copy, the chief asked for a copy, and he was turned down.
He was faxed a copy.
The chief was turned down.
He was faxed a copy.
Later,
Yes.
after I took the truck out of service for concerns.
That's right.
For
So
concerns.
if you didn't have a logical reason for taking it out of service, that's what I want answered. Why did it come out of service? I want to know why the truck was taken out of service.
Safety for the township and for the operators.
No, that's not the case with the defects.
I
It
did,
passed to safety, and the mechanic would stand behind that, no doubt.
yes?
And we left a fire hall without a fire truck for 3 weeks before anybody knew about it in this council.
That's not my problem.
Somebody's problem.
There
It's going to become somebody's problem real quick.
There was people higher than me knew about it.
Then we'll move up. Thank you.
Sorry, I want clarification on this, as it seems to be a hot topic. What's the difference between a defect and a safety issue? And I know a little bit of the history, but I'm not deeply aware of what all's going back and forth here.
I did not know because I did not have a copy. Therefore, I felt it was safety for the operator, safety for the township to remove it from service immediately.
So you'd heard that there was issues with the truck.
Yes.
We didn't have a copy.
No. And when the chief asked for a copy, he said no.
Okay. I think I'm going to have 100 more questions here in a minute.
I will clarify that for Councillor Olmsted. A safety issue is bad brakes, brake lines, items that will cause the truck to fail and have an accident. Defects are like the hose isn't strapped down, not going to hurt anybody, not going to likely hurt too much, or a light that is shaking, a ladder that is on with a bungee cord. Maybe that's not a policy, but it's still only a defect. It's not a safety issue. That's what the difference.
So I'm really confused about how would you know what these are if you didn't have a list of whether they were a safety or a defect issue?
I didn't.
So are you saying that you'd heard that there was issues with the truck these 21 issues apparently that were with the truck, but you didn't have a list of what they were, so nobody could determine whether they were a defect or a safety issue?
That's right.
Councillor Jackson? Oh, sorry, Chris.
Even though it had just passed a safety,
10-4.
you still took it out of service without further information, even though it was safetied and passed.
It was the unknown. And I was protecting the township.
I disagree.
Councillor Olmsted, please.
So, to be very blunt about it, it sounds like a couple of guys had a pissing match between them. And it was a he said, she said, so, I mean, I could go on probably the next 3 hours about, okay, these 21 issues, did these happen all in 1 week and they became 21 issues then? Were these 21 issues over the course of 5 years or 10 years, or why weren't these brought forward if there was an issue at that time? Why weren't they brought forward 5 or 10 years ago? I don't know, how long was this truck in service?
Some of the issues that were on the list when we finally seen it were from manufacturing in 1990.
Right, so these could have been issues
There's
stemming from the last 15, 20 years.
The truck's been safetied every year.
Right, so, but
It's always passed.
whatever date that you had heard, they were an issue at that date, but they hadn't been an issue
Previous, no.
from 1990.
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
So that
Councillor...
brings us back to why was it taken out of service if this was things that were known? If we didn't know, why did we take it out of service when it passed the safety? That's my biggest concern.
Well, my biggest concern at the time was the safety of the operator and the safety of the township.
Pass the safety.
Doesn't matter. There was issues brought forward following the safety.
Without knowledge of what they were.
Right, because I didn't have it in writing.
So if I told you that the fire truck in Beachburg might have an issue, you would take it out of service?
Depending on the issue, yes.
You didn't know the issue.
Okay, so what do you want me to say?
We want to know why we did without a fire truck for so long and why we're not getting at it. Why we're not getting
so
these things back into place.
That's a different question. That's 2 questions now. Which one do you want me to answer?
Both of them.
I already answered them.
Okay, first, Councillor Olmsted, and...
Okay, sorry, hopefully this will be my last one. So, the person in charge of the truck, my understanding, would it be the captain of the truck? And
That captain reports to me.
he reports to you, so would it have been him that reported these 21 issues, but then not tell you what the issues were?
10-4.
Did he recommend it be taken out of service?
No, he did not.
Kathy, right here?
But to me, sorry,
No, go ahead.
that's me or who that is. But to me, Mayor, if the captain that's responsible for the truck tells me that there's 21 issues with the truck, whether I'm a mechanic or not, I'd be inclined to probably do the same thing, would be to, I want to see what those 21 issues are. That's the guy responsible for the truck. He's responsible for his men, I would assume, as well, or anybody
Yes,
that's responsible for the truck.
yes.
So I'd in all likelihood do the same thing. I'd want to take the truck back in, and if that's the guy responsible for it, I think he's the guy you got to satisfy.
Councillor right here?
Well, and then I guess the next issue is, the Mayor, you're wondering why the Forces Falls truck is not back in service, but it is my understanding that we've spent a lot of time trying to revamp the Westmead fire truck, which did not pass.
That's correct.
Which is another issue. I mean, that was pulled out of the boneyard. I don't know how much money we spent on that. $1,500. It probably came out of the fire budget. So you're questioning why the Forces Falls truck is not ready. Well, how much time has been spent on this Westmead truck? I know I was out there with the crew here a week ago Monday morning. There was many of us there for a couple of hours trying to pass this to no avail. How much of that time could have possibly been spent maybe on the Forces Falls truck, perhaps getting it back into service?
Then the question is, how much time has been spent on it?
And my question is, why was that Westmead truck pulled back out from there? None of us even knew about it.
We needed a fire truck, and there were Anyway,
It is my
we
understanding
wanna go
that
ahead here.
it is my understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, Deputy Chief, that there was a truck in that fire hall in Forster's Falls.
No.
Trying to get my dates here. June
The
30th, June
Haley
30th, the truck went in
fire
the hall.
truck.
June 30th.
And is it my
It could be off
understanding
the
that
date,
that
maybe
Haley fire
29th.
truck is still in that hall?
Negative.
It is.
No.
Pardon me?
The old Westmeath truck that was in the boneyard is sitting in the fire hall in Haley Station, and the tanker from Haley Station was moved to Forster's Falls.
Correct.
I think Chief Evener wants to say something. Okay.
We're dancing around the table here. There's 21 issues identified. I think that's good. Can you hear me? Yeah. No, it might be harder. Oh, harder. You've all had this package. I think most of you have seen it and read it, and when Mayor Johnson is saying there were 21 concerns, and when you're looking at the 21 concerns, I'm not a mechanic. To me, it was a safety issue. Deputy Chief Moore and I discussed it, and I concur with him pulling the truck out of service till we had a repair. The truck was safety, it was passed. This was over and above. You're aware of that. And when I look at these things here, they may be just, what's the word you used again? Just defects.
They were defects.
Defects. It may be so, but you're talking to guys that are not mechanics. Had we put the truck on the road and somebody got seriously hurt, then it's my neck. So I agree with Deputy Chief Moore. The truck was pulled out of service, so we got to call. Now, having said that, our mechanic went over the 21 concerns, and I do believe there were 6 serious ones only. And we went to fix them. A hose blew, surface fire, and we're still trying to figure out how we're going to fix that truck or the other truck.
Mayor Johnson?
The reason that I'm bringing this up, and I'm being very serious about it, because I consider this on behalf of myself as mayor, that this is an extraordinary issue that's gone on for 2 months, and that to me is unacceptable. So we need to move on it. We got to make a move on it. Somewhere along the line, we got to get this thing back in shape. So whatever it takes to get it going. I think as we go through this, now my point may have come through, and that is, again, it's everybody. We need to really work on our communications, and council has to know this stuff. Nothing else we can help, but this is a serious, serious, serious problem in my opinion. And then now the last report is that the truck was parked and never, as far as it sounded anyway, that the pumps were never drained because now there's frozen issues or frost issues. Is that correct, Bill?
No, the pumps were drained. We don't know how the water got in. It could have been condensation. This is the Westmeath truck that we pulled out of the boneyard that sat out for a year.
That's correct.
Shut off, sat for a year. I was instructed to fire it back up and try and get it back in service.
That's correct, by me. I
By
take
you.
responsibility for that because I wanted something in the fire hall. And we have now got a tanker in the fire hall.
That's right.
And now we've got a Westmeath truck working as a tanker in Westmeath.
That's right.
But we got to get a pumper back in action. That's my point.
I don't think either the pumpers, the old Forster's Falls truck or the old Westmeath truck will pass a pump test.
Well, we can downgrade it some to make it pass.
I don't know what's involved with that. I don't think it's that
Certified
simple.
pump tester can downgrade a pump.
I don't know. We'll have to check into that, but that's what this meeting is for, is to figure out what the next step is. Are we going to downgrade it?
We got to get one going, and we're not buying a new one. That's kind of the point.
Okay, but there's also the issue of the age of the truck itself.
They still do pump tests and pass antiques.
Not for a frontline pump.
It will do. It has to be better than nothing, even in the eyes of the law.
Okay.
what I'm saying, if it's downgraded, you can still, as far as I understand, you can still downgrade a pump. You can't downgrade them a lot, but you can downgrade them enough that it's not overheating
Okay, so
Councillor McLaughlin?
to look at it.
Thank you. I just don't understand how come we're discussing a fire issue in a public works committee meeting. This has got me baffled I think it should be put under the Fire Protective Services Committee, and then we could trash it out there. But this is a public works meeting. This isn't a fire committee meeting, a Protective Services Committee meeting. So I think it should be put on to Protective Services, and then at that point, we could discuss it, but not in public works.
Mayor Johnson.
I asked to be put on Public Works because it's in the fleet management for repairs.
But you're talking as why is it not in the fire hall? That has
It won't be in the fire hall until it's fixed.
I'm sorry. I just feel that it's in the improper committee. That's my feelings. But you can go ahead and discuss it if you wish.
Are we going to wrap this up, or?
Yeah, we'll have to wrap it up. But we need reports. We need something to move on. So that's all I have to say.
Councillor Jackson?
Seeing as we're just going to discuss it one more further, is it something that truck should be shipped out for another mechanic to take a look at? Or is our mechanic capable of doing whatever needs to be done to get the Forsters Falls fire truck back in working order, if it is possible, or have somebody take a look at it to see if it can be put back in order? I think that's the important issue right here, is something has to be done. If neither the Westmeath or the Forsters Falls can be put back into service, then we're going to have to look at purchasing a new fire truck. But we need to have that report sooner rather than later. And if our mechanic can do it, then it has to go out, and it has to be done, and I would hope that it be done within the next month.
Okay. Okay, we're going to move on. Thank you, Chief Evener. Oh, Bill?
So my direction right now is you want to know which truck should go back. You want to know if we can downgrade the pump, the old pump at Foresters Falls, to make it pass a test. I'm just trying to clear up what I'm supposed to do.
No. Mayor Johnson?
My suggestion is, let's get an assessment from whomever, what it's going to take to get the pump, or to get the truck mobile.
Which truck?
The yellow one. Or they're both yellows. I know not the yellow one.
Both
Forsters Falls.
Forsters Falls truck, the original one. Okay, we need to get that assessed. We have to know what it's going to cost.
So I'll send that out to a third party.
If it's going to improve the speed, let's get it to a third party.
I would say it probably would.
Councillor Regier, then Christine.
I just want to confirm something, because it was my understanding that the Westmeath truck was in better shape than the Forsters Falls truck. Am I correct in that, or that is not correct?
We thought that.
We thought, okay,
We
thank you.
thought that, but we're trying to get improved on.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
So it would be very helpful, Hope is writing out a motion right now, but if you could help her with the wording, we need clear direction to staff on exactly what this committee wants done.
Read what you got.
So I have, from what I gathered here, just a little thing. Be it resolved that the Public Works Committee of the Township of Whitewater Region directs staff to get an assessment of the Forsters Falls fire truck, what it would take to get back working.
Outside source.
Outside source, okay.
Once we get it back. Maybe we put in there then too, just because of the situation we're in, we could have an independent do the pump test.
Oh, Reeve Miller?
Yeah, this obviously got a little hot here, but with all this said, I'd just like to say thank you to the fire department too, because there is another side to this, and Chief Hebner has informed us all that at no time our township was really at risk. He had taken some of that into consideration, and I think we should all take a little bit of that into consideration as well. These things can happen sometimes, and we can work them out peacefully. Okay?
Okay, are you ready? All right, she's gonna read it out.
So be it resolved that the Public Works Committee of the Township of Whitewater Region directs staff to get an outside source to do an assessment of the Forsters Falls fire truck and what it will need to get back into service. Was there another addition to that you had mentioned, or is that sufficient?
And if we choose to go ahead with the repairs after the assessment, that we use an independent source to do the pump. And having said that, I do have a great deal of respect for our fire department, and I would apologize for being awfully rough, but this is very, very serious to me, and I'll shake Mike's hand when we leave if he's willing.
I think it is important as well, as soon as those results are ready, what it's going to cost to fix, and what the recommendation is, that be sent to council immediately. In the event that a special meeting has to be held to authorize any funds to be paid or whatever needs to be done, I would hope that be sent right away.
Mayor Johnson?
Just another sub-note. I believe the fire department would be grandly served if we buy a new fire truck in the future and we got one of these trucks to work properly, that we keep one as a standby for these situations in the future. Chief Ebner, do you think that'd be worthwhile or not?
I said that the last couple of years.
I'm behind you on that.
To the former CEO.
Okay, Hope's gonna read it. She's the best.
Try this one more time. Okay, so be it resolved that the Public Works Committee of the Township of Whitewater Region directs staff to get an outside source to do an assessment of the Forsters Falls fire truck and what it will need to get back into service, and council has the option to choose to obtain the work from an independent source to fix the pump.
All in favor? No. Okay, Al?
I'll second.
Now I'm gonna say all in favor. All in favor? Opposed? Carried.
And
Christine?
I would ask, as a point of process, all reports of this nature come to the CAO's office, and I will distribute them then to council.
Next item on the agenda is update on ongoing projects and roads. Bill?
Take this out because it's easier. Bromley line has been chipped. Isn't this working right? It's chipped, it's done, so we're in good shape there. Some sidewalks have been paved in Beachburg as well as the lot at the Beachburg Fire Hall that was passed during budget. I'm waiting on a schedule to come back from Greenwood in order to tell me when they're going to be able to pave the rest of it. Another quick point I would like to bring up is, would you like the Forsters Falls yard tendered out, or with the existing tender, we do have a line in there that allows us, if we had any additional paving, I have a unit price for the extra paving, and it's a pretty good price.
Darrell? Oh, Councilor McLaughlin.
What about, is it St. Augustine we were supposed to do, Bill? Have you had that?
That's in there. I'm waiting on the paving
Okay, so
contractor
that-
to give me a schedule.
That's in there as well?
Absolutely.
Okay, yeah, because that's been on the agenda for quite a while.
Absolutely.
Yeah. My thoughts, my direction would be to just go ahead with the Public Works manager's request to just go ahead with the paving, if you think it's a good price. That's my thoughts.
Councillor Jackson?
With regards to, so this Forster's Falls Fire Hall, which tender did you get prices on that you will add that to?
We used a tender from 2 years ago. It's the original asphalt tender. We always add in a clause that if we would like additional paving to be done, we get a unit price per meter, and then that's the price we would go on.
Okay, and that's 2 years ago, and they're still willing to hold up their price, even though in some cases the actual prices in some cases have gone down because the price has decreased?
Some of the prices have gone up for paving.
And we've had another tender to state that the prices have gone up?
The one with the backyard, I can't compare them because there's more civil work here in the backyard that was included in that tender. I can check the price again, and if I think I can get it cheaper by tendering it, I can do it, but to save time and get the Forster's Falls Fire Hall done quicker, I could do it off of our old tender and do it that way.
And is that with the same company that we're still waiting on a schedule?
Yes.
So when do you anticipate them giving you a schedule? Because my request was 2-3 weeks ago now, and you still haven't heard.
It's hard to lock contractors down. Hope's been trying to get the contractor that's doing the backyard for a month and a half to give her a schedule, and I believe she just got one the other day.
Okay, and what about the other updates with regards to Corner View, Snake River Line?
An email was sent out quite a while back. Corner View will be left till after Labor Day in order to allow for the traffic on Corner View that goes into the camp.
Okay.
Okay, Snake River Line, the culverts, we have to contact the county as well because some of those are county culverts. So that's that. The tender is out, and there's a site meeting tomorrow for Grant Settlement Road. Also, we called the rafting companies and talked to them about, would you prefer we start right away, or would you prefer we wait until after the Worlds are done and after your summer rush, because that road's going to be tore right to pieces in order to do it. 2 of the 3 would rather wait until after because the road's not in that bad a shape now that the tracks are out and the patch is in.
And probably 2 of the 3 are the only 2 that are affected.
Well,
Probably.
they're all affected.
They're all affected,
yeah.
But, okay, and what about culvert replacements? How is that proceeding?
We've replaced quite a few culverts already. There are some more to do, and there will be more arise this summer, I'm sure. Okay,
and what about pylons that are still out there? There's still one at the garage on Cedar Haven Road.
No, it's gone now.
It's gone now?
Yeah.
I haven't been down there since yesterday, that way. What about the pylon on Zion Line? What are you going to do with that culvert?
That we have a liner. We're trying to wait for the proper time so we can go ahead and put the liner in.
Okay.
So we don't have to actually dig up the road and replace the culvert. We purchased a liner last year, just the weather didn't permit installing it.
Okay, so that will be done this year?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Councillor Olmsted?
I can't add to that, thank you.
Okay. Councillor McLaughlin?
To allude to Councillor Jackson's statement, I think the owner that is not affected on the road was one of the ones that contacted me and said leave it until after the Labor Day weekend, Bill, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes. Actually, it's only 2 that got back to us, and both of them they would rather it waited till later on. Also, with our tenders, we have 3 tenders closing on the 29th of this month. I think we're going to, or I would like to have a meeting early. I know it's going to have to be a special meeting, it wouldn't be long, in order to pass the tenders. One would be for the tandem truck, one would be for crushing of the gravel, and the third one would be for this job on Grant Settlement Road.
Okay, Mayor Johnson, first.
You're having a site meeting tomorrow for the Grant Settlement Road?
Yes.
Specify has to be done before the end of September. Put that right into your...
I will now that we've had this meeting tonight, and, you know, I know the position was to get it done before the Worlds, but then like when we contacted the rafting companies, they would much prefer that we, even to try and get it done for the Worlds, it would severely disrupt the traffic going into the
We'll never
rafting
do that.
companies.
The other thing too is, on their tender form put down, they have to submit a schedule with their tender.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay, Councillor Jackson.
Can I make a suggestion for next year so that we're not sending out tenders at the end of July to do road work that should be done in June and July and August? That we, in the fall, that we review some of those capital items and we discuss all the road projects, do a schedule, and then if we decide which road projects to do for budget purposes, and we lock into those, then tenders can be ready for when budget is passed, and a calendar of what's going to happen for the summer months for construction can be sent out. So then when the tenders are actually issued, then a certain date can be put in specifically that you want it done in June, so before summer season, whatever. So that is all done immediately, basically the day after the budget is.
It'd make my life a whole lot easier.
Mine too.
Can I just add? Sorry. That parking lot, Forster's Falls, is really bad.
Absolutely.
And
So
you
we'll
see
do the
some
civil
old
work.
people fall in the holes or something.
We'll do the civil work right away,
Okay.
dig it out and get it ready to go so it's ready for pave and make it safer.
Darryl? Councillor McLaughlin?
Bill, when you're going to have that site visit, are you anticipating of chipping it this fall? Or are you anticipating to leave it till spring?
I think it would need to get done this fall. We did Dombrowski late in the fall and it turned out great, and the same as Rapid Road. Those were both done in October and they turned out great.
I think, if I'm not mistaken, Dombrowski had to be done again the next year.
That was,
Was one lift put on it, and was it in September?
it was October.
I would have to see those documents. I know that the Curline was done in late September, and it was tore up 5 years afterwards.
Councillor Jackson? Sorry, Councillor Jackson.
It's very important that the tar and chip, whatever it's called, that get done in heat. It needs heat. The Design line